Welcome back to the second session of the day. I'm Michelle Bird. I'm the Associate National Executive Director of the Producers Guild, and I am very pleased to welcome you here. Thank you. Oh, yay. All right. Thank you. So this is a conversation, we're very excited about this conversation, I've got to tell you. So it's a conversation with Viola Davis and Julius Tennon. They are amazing, they are awesome. You guys are in for a special treat. I'd like to first thank Fox Studio Operations for hosting us on the conference, on the event, on the lot today, this year. And I'd like to thank our friends over at the Hollywood Reporter for sponsoring this session. And just as a courtesy for everybody, all of our speakers are going to be unmasked. If everybody could remember to keep your masks on, we would appreciate that. And also if you could silence your phones, we'd also appreciate that. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our moderator, Emmy-nominated actress, writer, producer, and host, Yvette Nicole Brown.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Ooh, this is a nice crowd. Have my fan, because I'm a woman of a certain age, and you never know when a flash might come. So put this to the side. Y'all don't judge me if I have to turn it on. Okay. First of all, it's such an honor to be here with you guys, and it's an honor to bring out these two amazing people that I'm about to bring out. First, she is an Emmy, Tony, Golden Globe, and Oscar-winning actress. Well known, hey, yes. Well known for The Help, and Doubt, and Fences, and How to Get Away with Murder. Let's bring her out, Viola Davis. Y'all better get up. Y'all better get up. You better get up. Hey, sis. Hi. Yes, give her flowers. And listen, last but not least, listen to this intro. He is a star linebacker from the University of Tulsa, who is also the first African-American to graduate from their theater department. He is 30 years into this career that includes roles in Fame, Get On Up, Friday Night Lights, and CBS's City of Angels, where he met his love, Viola Davis, in 1999. Let's hear it for Julius Tennon! Come on now. Come on now, star linebacker. Come on now.
Thank you.
Now, listen, these two founded JuVee Productions in 2011. Viola is their CEO, and Julius is their president. And Juvie is an artist-driven, LA-based production company that develops and produces film, theater, TV, and digital content with an eye on melanin. Hello? There's nothing wrong with a little melanin. And they also have a first-look deal with Amazon. It includes television and film. I want to read this quote because it matters. As a company, Juvie is committed to producing narratives from a diverse range of emerging and established voices alike with an eye towards diversity. Welcome, you two.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, this panel is called Shooting for Tomorrow, the Future of Producing, and I can't think of two people I'd rather talk to more about this. What made you guys decide to create Juvie in 2011?
Well, out of deference for Viola's career, obviously, there's not a lot of roles for people of color that come through the pipeline. They're there, but there's not a plethora. And then when we talk about execution and we talk about elevation and the real quality of work that's out there for someone of Viola's skill set, we decided we needed to, start a production company so we could have more control and more sway over the kind of opportunities that Viola would have in the industry. So that was the big.
I mean, we created it out of necessity, because I always say, if you want to see where your career is going, see where the top people are in your category. And I didn't see anything. Now, the talent is there, but the material was not.
Right.
So after a while, you have to be the change you want to see.
Right. And yes, and that says a lot because a lot of people, when they get to your level, they go, well, I got mine. So, good luck to you. But what they do, and I can say this because I have worked with them behind the scenes trying to create something. Ours did not go, but we tried. They will find you They will go, this person is ready, this person has the right thing, let's find an opportunity for this person. And a lot of people at you guys' level would not do that, so I appreciate it, and everybody appreciates it. So in forming Juvie, what were your main goals? When you said we need this, and this is why we need this, besides creating opportunities, what else did you want to have in the marketplace?
Well, you know, and Julius can absolutely speak even more specifically about this. What we wanted were prestige projects. You know, with all due respect, I did not want to see another narrative where I was crying over my dead son's body after dying from a drive-by shooting. I see myself as more complicated, and I see all people of color as way more complicated and messy and all of that. So we were seeking material that honored the people who are on the periphery, who want to be seen, who want their humanity to be seen.
Fullness.
Fully and completely.
And
that's anyone standing on the sideline.
Yeah, and
you
part
know.
of that was, it's like the tropes and the stereotypes that are so pervasive for people of color. We wanted to get away from that because we, as Viola just said, we're more than that. So then we wanted to create narratives and characters that live full lives, that are fully realized human beings, and then just tell a story around that. Let's just tell a story about this table and these two women, so that was a big thing for us to kind of change the way we were being seen in narrative.
That kind of falls in line with, I heard this story about when you were in How to Get Away with Murder and you decided to take the wig off. Oh, yeah. Come on, you know, sis. Now listen, there may be some people in here that don't know how groundbreaking that moment was, but every black woman said, what? Right? And there was a reason you chose to do it, and can you share why you chose to do that, why you made that decision?
Well, I made that decision before I signed on to it, and I said, look, because with all due respect, I was reluctant to do network television because I see it as being, it can be tropey land. And I don't fit into tropey land. So I said, you know what, I'll do it, and I'll wear my wigs and cuteness, but I only do it if I could take the wig off. And so they asked why, and my response to that is, then you have to write for that woman who took her wig off and took her makeup off. You have to write for her. You have to see her. And she does not have a mask on.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, I feel that there's a huge part of who we are that is just simply not in the narrative. And you know what? Sometimes we support those images.
It's true.
We really do. I always say image and message sometimes precedes excellence and truth. And, you know, I always use the example of Kramer versus Kramer with Meryl Streep, who, you know, you enter the story and she's abandoned her child. You make a snap judgment of her, and then all of a sudden she enters the narrative, and by the end you're like, wait a minute, she may have a point. That is the power of our art form. The power of our art form is to create characters who remind you that you are less alone in all of the sort of politically incorrect things that you feel. Yes. I wanted Annalise Keating to be that, especially in a dark-skinned woman, because dark-skinned women, we literally are always on the caboose of the train.
You better say it. You better say it. You better say it. And this is what I love about the moment. You doing that gave us permission to accept ourselves fully, right? Yes. You showed us, and it didn't scare me. It shocked me because no one had ever done it, but it didn't scare me because I knew that face in the mirror. I've lived that face in the mirror, so thank you for that. What did you guys think was missing in the entertainment landscape at the time when you said, you know, I'm looking and I'm seeing what do we need, and what did you say Juvie can fill this spot in particular?
Well, listen, I always talk a lot about courage. You know, it can get lost on people, but you got to have courage. And so then to have courage, you have to talk about the kinds of things that you want to do, the kinds of change you want to see. And you actually have to talk about it. And then when you get with your partners, when you're producing together, then we have to be on the same page, because it's never about ego or any of that stuff. It's always about the project. And so it was one of those things where we were just like, something's got to shift, something's got to change.
You know, the thing about it is, I have an 11-year-old daughter, so I'm watching the Marvel movies. I do all of it, and I love it. You know, I love it. I feel what's missing is I think social media has taken over the definition of this art form. I think that the word escapism is literally something that is both interesting, the goal that all of us want to do. Everyone wants to sit in the movie theater with the popcorn, Sour Patch Kid, Diet Coke, and just escape your life, okay? But literally, it destroys our art form. It is not what we do. And so every time you're in a room selling a narrative, it's about how much you can create a story that allows people to escape. So then it becomes a Mr. Potato Head of characters. They become bobbleheads. They become tropes, like Julius said, tropes and stereotypes. We even forget who these people are really until a movie comes along and blows our mind and reminds us, okay, this is what it's about. It's about reminding us, seeing ourselves in it, seeing our mess in it. Wow. But those narratives usually don't have people in it who look like us.
They never do.
They never do. It's a resistance to our humanity, but that's another conversation. That's what I saw that was missing for us, which is why we have the sort of slate that we have at JuVee.
We're going to talk about that amazing slate a little later. You know, when you start something, whatever it is, you think you know what you know, right? So what did you think you knew about producing that you now know that you know about producing?
I always thought it, when you're an actor, because, being an actor and you're on a set, you see all these people, everybody's running around, and you kind of go, how's all this working? But I'm just here as an actor, so I'm just going to focus on that. And so I didn't know it was as hard and long, and many of you know what I mean by that. It's not an easy road. You start something, how long you been developing that? 4 years? 4 years? 15 years. Some folks, I worked with some producers as an actor that had been working on a thing, took them 15 years to get it made. And so that was the big aha for me, was how much, when I really got into it, I was going, wow, this is a lot. Because you're trying to keep things together, and you're trying to keep momentum. Because I'm always following momentum. Yeah. If the project is moving, then we're good. If it's not, move to the next thing. It's always about, managing your expectation and the expectations of your partners, And so that was the big thing for me.
Viola?
I just didn't know how much fear drives everything, and usually the fear base is based in money. So I always thought, oh my God, we have a great script. It's great, but that's not enough. The commerciality of all of it and commerciality can't be quantified. You can have a really crappy script, but really top-notch actors attached to it, and as far as they're concerned, it's a great project. You can have a great script with maybe what they would call, I don't use these terms, a D-list actors attached, and it's like, oh no, that's not a very good project at all. I didn't know how much the work took a back seat. I came from theater. I just didn't know. I was like,
Tony winner.
So that's been my biggest surprise.
What has been the most pleasant surprise? What have you found that you like, oh, this is all right, this is good? Is it being in charge? I like being in charge.
Just that you're in charge of your own destiny. And obviously it involves a whole lot of people when you have your producer partners and that kind of thing. But you're actually, you're moving, and you're trying to move together. So all us people trying to move all these pieces together as one. And so that's really satisfying when you're in a room and then you're on the same page and you're trying to get it done. Because at the end of the day, you got to be on the same page with folks. And so when that's happening and you're moving toward a project that you love, it may take a lot of years to get it done, but if you love it and if momentum kind of stays around it and you kind of keep moving around, then it's a beautiful thing. But it's never easy, but that makes it, worth it.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about work-life balance.
Yeah.
We all,
Listen,
y'all, listen.
Yeah.
We have all been on sets, and it feels like we now live there. Hello?
Listen,
Yeah, go on.
Yeah,
Take it.
I want to say, it's really important because, when we're doing these projects, oftentimes we're spending more time with folks than we are with our families. And obviously we love all these folks. We hire all these folks. We work together in tandem. And listen, we've been through a hell of a 2.5 years, and guess what? We still in it. Who thought that like in America we would be wearing masks? It used to be a kind of novel thing. You get on a plane, you see an Asian person and you kind of go, oh, they got a mask on. Now the whole world got masks on. Yep. And we're opening up to some degree, but we still have to be safe. And so I think that we have to be kinder and gentler. I want to share something with you guys.
Do it.
I want to share something with you guys from our president of our union. And maybe some of you read this thing from Fran Drescher. And she said, the union is a democracy. We are all one and must make kindness and compassion our compass. That really struck me because of what we've all gone through, and that we really have to think more about how this work-life balance works out. And I think that, it's important for us to make money and for the films to make money and do all those things, but it's also important for our mental health, to be healthy as producers. And then the folks that we're working with, that we're employing, that we're not working 18, 19 hours a day, that we find ways to, where we can, because we know sometimes you're going to have to get those hours, but where we can, we need to find a way to make those hours less so productivity can go up. Because productivity is going to go up when you're rested, but when you're not rested, and that it's just hard to do that work that's really vital in all the different sectors of our film. And so I'm just like, I just think it's time for us to think more about those things and be kinder and gentler about those things.
Viola.
I haven't figured it out yet. And actually, my trepidation, even in spaces like this, is I just always pray that I have enough courage to speak my truth. I think that we live in a culture where our ideology is work-based. That's where we get our meaning. We meet each other exhausted. We say, oh, I have 4 kids, and I worked 14-hour day, and I still had, I cooked a meal, and oh my God, I kept my weight down. And, I'm on a vegan diet, and what are you doing? Oh, I have that under control. I sleep 5 hours a night, and I'm still well rested. And then the competition becomes about how you can keep up with that person in order to have meaning and purpose. Listen, in our business, what happens for me is what Julius said is, first of all, figuring out how to cut down those hours. You do not have to work a 135-hour week. You can do what you need to do in 10 hours. There are people there who put that in a contract, okay? And here's the other thing. When you're under stress, what happens is you start screaming at people. And you only scream at people who you think are beneath you. You don't scream at the executive producer. You don't scream at the head of the studio. You scream at the PA. You scream at the makeup artist. You scream at the people who are sacrificing just as much as you to be there.
And paid much less.
And you don't want
exactly.
And you don't want people, and particularly when we're working, I don't want people walking on eggshells. I want to, listen, if I got a problem with you, it's not rocket science what we do. But what we do is important because we're serving audiences and leaving people less alone. But it's important to be cognizant and make these moments teachable moments. Listen, you can be upset. I could be upset because you didn't pull the cord right, or you didn't connect the lights right, or you would be considered, oh, we got the C lighting team. They're not an A team, so they're making too many mistakes. Okay, they're making mistakes, but teach them.
Yes.
Be kind. Have compassion.
But
Because we're doing the same work. We're doing the same thing.
no, there's no but. I'm just adding to you, Julius, not to interrupt you.
No, it's okay.
It's my biggest complaint about the business as an artist. Huge. There is no sacred space to share. We do not create a sacred space. In theater, even though they have their issues too, completely understand, but you have rehearsal. So what is it in rehearsal? Rehearsal is all about, you know what, that choice doesn't work. You know what, you just stepped on my line. Wait a minute, that line doesn't work. Why does it? I'm just telling you that line doesn't work. Ba, 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 ba. And you figure it out. You throw something against the wall. You see if it sticks. If it doesn't stick, then you're like, let's try something else. There is nothing like that in this business. What it is a business about navigating relationships. So you don't say that because, you know what, you're going to step on the writer's toes. You don't tell them the line is not working. It's like, but the line isn't working. And I love this writer. I think this writer is great, but it's not working. And the reason why I say that is because when you create the sacred space where people can share and you can hear the other voices, that's when things can shift. That's when you could start servicing people. That's when you could service the mother who said, listen, I haven't seen my kid in the last 2 months. I have to tell you that. Or I'm having health issues. I got to go to my doctor's appointment. But if you tell them, you can't say that because you're going to hold up the production and people are going to get pissed off. Then you don't create a business that can service the needs of the people in order to maximize the results. So if there is no sacred artistic space, then there is no moving forward. Once again, it's the famous line, either we move forward together or we don't move forward at all. You know, and I feel like that's the important place that we need to be in this business, is those sacred spaces. And what about this sacred space? That there are 50 million microaggressions going on for me as a black woman in this room that I have to address. This script doesn't work for me, this hairstylist doesn't work for me, makeup artist, and I have to be quiet because I don't want to call anyone a racist, but I'm not calling them a racist. I actually really like them, but I'm just telling you, it doesn't service me. Meaning the courage to be vulnerable, the courage and the braveness to be vulnerable.
You know what?
It's the 3 C's: courage, compassion, collaboration.
All the time.
Courage, compassion, collaboration. Not necessarily in that order, but we need those 3 things.
I almost wish you would have just dropped the mic after that, Viola.
You know.
I don't think we need to say nothing else. I want to say this too. Everything you guys discussed just now is an ego issue. Okay? And this goes beyond just on sets. If everyone in the world would set the feeling that they feel about themselves aside and just be a human being, having a human conversation, understanding that we're fallible human beings. So no matter what you think about yourself or what your mama told you about you, you may be wrong. There may be something about you that needs a little tweak. And sometimes you end up on a set and somebody will have the courage to say, you know, sometimes the way you speak to me makes me feel some kind of way. It's your tone. You're a lovely person, but the way you say things to me kind of makes me feel some kind of way. And if the person you say that to does not have ego, they can take a moment and go, well, you know, I never realized that my tone was a little crispy. I'm gonna work on that. Or, you know, tell me more about these microaggressions. What did I just do that made you feel like I wasn't on your side?
Because we do live in a democracy.
Absolutely.
And in a democracy, we agree to disagree, but it seems that in the time we're living right now, that's not happening. We're all Americans, Republican, Democrat, Independent, it doesn't matter. Our country matters. Right. Us being together matters. But if we can't talk to each other and be together and be civil and move forward, even though we disagree, then who are we? What are we? What are we doing?
Exactly.
You know, the work is important, but if we don't care enough and we don't have enough in here, you know, as a man thinks in his heart, a man or woman, as you think in your heart, so are you. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Do you have anything in there that you can give somebody besides just the roar?
Right. Right.
You could roar at me, but pull me aside.
Right.
Pull me aside and talk in my ear. Right. Don't make all the folks over here, don't make everybody go, oh shit.
Yeah. Right.
Pull me aside. Pull all 8 of us aside.
Right.
Let's have a conversation over here. Then you can roar a little bit. But not so everybody can hear it.
Now, everybody got a trauma response. Everybody's triggered because you didn't yell, right?
Absolutely.
And this is the thing, like, you can have a problem with somebody and not have a problem with what someone has done and not have a problem with them. You guys realize the difference, right? So when we're on sets, I may not like the way you said this or you did this, but I still like you, Harry. We still friends. I just don't like this one thing. And again, if you remove your ego, you're able to have a human, response.
Human response.
Right?
Absolutely.
Well, listen, I think that's a good discussion we just had right there. Julius, you said once in an interview, you said, when I go to meetings, it's generally not African Americans that I'm talking to about getting something greenlit. And folks at the top are going to have to make decisions about trying to make systemic change. The ones that are in power now have to then realize that maybe I don't know everything about everybody, right? And you guys want Juvie to be a place that creates a pipeline for people to get into positions of power. How do you plan on doing that, or what's the way that you want to try to do that?
Well, you know, the way I see doing that is that you give opportunity. If I can stick, if I'm elevated, I can stick my foot in the door for anybody. We're all human. Don't have to be, we're a production company where equity goes across all lines, white, black, Asians, whatever, but we want to elevate, obviously, voices of color. But it's everybody. I got a friend who's white, whatever, you're trying to get in somewhere. If I can help you, if I can just stick my foot in the door and get you in, then you go knock the hinges off, because I got you in there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And the only reason I'm going to push you forward is because I believe in you. I believe that you're someone who's going to go in there and you're going to be able to do what it is that you do and do it really well. So it doesn't hurt us to always be aware of how we can help. It's the little things. It's not big things. Make a call. Open the door. You know, those things are the things that are important, because then if I'm recommending you, then the folks I'm recommending you to trust that I have good judgment. Right. And so that's the way I want to operate. Yeah. That's what we want to do, because it's pipeline issues. It's getting folks in and to get the opportunity that they deserve, because you guys have the skill set. If you have the skill set, then you deserve the opportunity. Mm-hmm. But somebody's got to be that advocate. Somebody's got to be that conduit to move that for you.
That's why it's always like the first black person this, the first black, you hear that a lot. It's the first black person because no one has been allowed to do it before. No one had the opportunity to do it before. And so I always say that that's what separates so many people, is not talent, opportunity. You hear that about so many actors. You'll hear, she makes such great choices. I always say, no, she had great choices. When you have great choices, you can make great choices,
I want to go one step further and say that competition is a myth.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a myth.
Absolutely.
And I also feel that there are times that you find out about something because you're supposed to tell people. We think that when we find out about something that's supposed to be, it's like my precious. Who's Gollum? It's like my precious. No. No. Open your hand. Anything that comes to you, you guys, is supposed to overflow.
That's right.
It's not supposed to land in your hand and puddle. It's supposed to overflow, which means when something overflows, if you have a pool or a cup that you overfill, it overflows because the cup is full. Mm-hmm. You only get overflow because your cup is full. So if you get something, it's supposed to bubble over. It's supposed to be some trickles for somebody else. So sometimes when you hear about something, it's not for you to figure out, especially if your plate is always already full, it's not for you to figure out how you can fit it in. It's who do I know that can do this? As an actor, and I've done this from the beginning, me and Octavia do this actually, we'll hear about an opportunity and we'll find out the casting director and call everybody that looks like us and say, they're looking for us. It's John Smith is looking for us. I went on Tuesday, they still open. Here's his number, have your people get you in. Because we can't do everything. And we're not supposed to do everything. And so creating a pipeline is making sure that there's an opportunity for everybody. Because competition is a myth and there's more than enough to go around. Please remember that.
But I'm just going to say
Oh,
this
get in with a butt.
quickly
Go on.
because I have to play the devil's advocate.
Do it.
with
Play
that.
it.
Once again, social media has bogarted the definition of our art form.
That's true.
Is we act like that because we are in a business of deprivation.
That's true. You're right.
We are in a business where there is a 95% unemployment rate, where 0.04% of actors are famous. You don't know that until you're in it. And so I've always been that actor who shares everything with not very good results.
Oh yeah,
You know, some
everybody
people
don't do
could
it.
be-
Everybody don't do it.
Because you could be generous to someone, then they're not
they don't
generous.
do
It's
it
like,
back.
okay,
Listen.
they take it and slap you in the face.
But that's
and
their
run.
karma. Guess what? That's their karma.
That's cool. It's all cool. But I think that that's what leads it. It's that idea that it's not going to be there for me. It may seem like it's overflowing, but if she has it, then it's going to dry up for me. You know, and we have to know that, yes, it is enough. And we also have to know that your path is your path.
You better say it.
You know, you're not like anybody else.
Come on.
You know.
Come on. And see what she's saying is that she's actually agreeing with what I just said in that there's a no, I want to take me and Viola agree on this because the idea is the myth tells you there's not enough. And if you buy into that, you live a very tight, scared life. And you end up with your life giving you what you expect. So you will always be behind the 8 ball. You will be always suffering because you're like this. We saw what happened to Gollum with that precious. It destroyed him, right? So you have to trust your journey enough to believe that there is enough for you. Absolutely. You have to believe it. And if you don't believe it, it will never be true. Just try it and see. Just be more generous, be more loving, be more giving, and see what happens. You got 2 examples of what happens right here. They're flourishing because they give. Because they give and they share. Let me tell you something. I'm sitting here with them today because they asked me to do this. Well, nobody think about me but them. I said, come on, talk to the people with us, Yvette. They give. Okay, so I want to shift to what Juvie has. Because we've talked about you guys, and there's a lot coming up for Juvie. I'd give you a chance to talk about what's coming.
Yeah, you know, first of all, I want to say, you know, it's been quite a journey. It's been 11 years. And, you know, in the last 5 years, you know, we've been building up and working up to these moments. And in these last 5 years, things have really started to, you know, to kind of bubble to the top. And it's really, really fantastic. And so all this work that we put in has, you know, produced a lot of things. And we obviously, we're TV, film, and we're immersive and interactive as well. So, Viola, you could just give a top line of 3 of our things we're excited for.
I'm so bad with the pitch. Julius is so great with the pitch. But in film, I say it, my magnum opus is Woman King. We have coming out in September, directed by Gina Prince Bythewood. And it's about an all-female military unit fighting to protect the historical kingdom of Doheny. And then we have the Reels brothers. True story, 2 brothers spent 8 years in jail to leave because they refused to leave their family home, directed by Carl Franklin. And we also have a separate feature documentary based on this too, directed by Raoul Peck, who directed I'm Not Your Negro. And then we have Rachel Dupree. Now that has been something we've been working on for 12 years, directed by Claire McCarthy. And Brian Rosen is producer with us. Lashana Lynch, Aldous Hodge they're attached, slated to star, and it's a story that follows a couple that want to conquer the American dream in the early 20th century in the Badlands and in Utah. South Dakota.
Can I watch that today? Because
You know,
that
it's,
sounds so good.
Oh, it's
Yeah, and then we have many more films set up at studios. I mean, with our Amazon partners, and then in the studios, we have several other things that are in development, and that. And then on the immersive and interactive, right now we have, you know, Tribeca is going on. And we've been doing quite well in the immersive space, and we're doing a project with Verizon, and it's an augmented project called Iago Green-Eyed Monster.
Woo!
And it's a prequel, it's a futuristic take on Othello, and it's the monster that comes out of Iago's face, but it comes from a female perspective. Iago is a female. And then we're doing Lucid, which is a branching narrative, and we're working with FlavorWorks and their innovative patented touch video technology. And then we have another game called Anthropopia, and it follows a young bug named Arlo who discovers a parasite that silently kills the innocent citizens of Anthropopia. And Arlo must find the host that's been spreading it and investigate a cure to the kingdom's survival. So we're doing branching narratives, we're doing augmented reality, we're doing VR, so we're touching on a lot of different spaces that are really fantastic. And the Iago Green-Eyed Monster is up for the best augmented reality experience for 2022. It's in the Tribeca right now. And my team is there, and they're having a great time. And then on the TV side, we're developing Wild Seed at Amazon, Bruce's Beach, which was about black leisure in the early 1900s. And I know you guys may have heard something about Bruce's Beach over the last year or two. So we're developing a thing, and we're doing that with Plan B. And then we have another show, a half-hour comedy called House of Chow, a brother and sister who are trying to, flip the script on their Chinese restaurant and make it more, make it more expansive and more authentic. And so this is just a small example of the things that we're doing in all of our departments. And then we have slates are so long, and there's so many things. It's all you know. You have so many things on your plate. You have so many things you love. And we're getting a lot of energy around all these 9 projects at the moment. And so, you go, as I say, go with the energy in your projects. As you're developing things, go with the energy. And obviously, we're always open and looking for different kinds of things to do. And so we're around, we're looking, just like you guys are probably looking for partners to do things with. And so it'd be great to, for you to share some stuff that you have that might work. But that's it, Nicole.
Listen, everything they said was so classy. It was just a couple of words I couldn't pronounce up in there, names.
You can't talk about everything. You just got to talk about a few things.
I just feel like I need a higher IQ to be up here with y'all. That was lovely. Well,
Thank you.
I think we can't end it no better than that. I want to thank you all for coming out. I want to thank the fabulous Viola Davis, the fabulous Julius Tennon. I'm Yvette Nicole Brown. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you, guys.